What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As always, it is appreciated. So you read the title today. We are dyeing the Q50 seats. As soon as I found out this was a thing, I knew I wanted to get it done. I knew what color I wanted, all that good stuff. So I'm really excited to do this. Of course, the only problem is if for some reason I manage to mess it up, then my seats are done and they're gonna look like crap from here on out, which they don't look bad. They're just stock black seats. So hopefully we can do this without messing it up. So this is the kit that we're going to be using today. I went with the Alibasta White. It's kind of like an off-white, so I think this will look really good in contrast with the blue and then of course the white trunk setup that we did a while back. But what's nice about this is that for the most part it comes with everything you need. It comes with a cleaner, some towels, some gloves, a sponge that you need to apply it. So the kit that I bought came with this bottle. I think it's like a 16-ounce bottle. So because I don't have a full 32 ounces and I don't know how far this one bottle is going to get me, I'm going to start with the front seats and then kind of go from there. If I need to buy another bottle of the 16 to get the rear seats done, then we'll go ahead and do that at some point. But for right now, we're just going to start with the front seats and then go from there. So just in case you've never taken out your Q50 seats before, there is 2 bolts in the front and the rear. So just move it forward and backwards to expose these. They will have these caps over them. Just pop the caps off and then use a 14mm to go ahead and take those off. Then flip them upside down so you can get to all the connections. So disconnect them from the bottom, then you should be good to go ahead and take them out. Okay, so both seats are out. It was a little bit of a struggle just to get all the clips and everything out, but all in all, not too bad. Jonathan has stopped by once again to help, which is always super appreciated because having an extra hand with anything that you do is always nice. I do need to get these seats clean. Luckily, this kit did come with a cleaning item for it, and it also came with this like pad. I think that's meant to go ahead and like kind of act a little bit of sandpaper to like really get in there, but I think I'm still going to use a bit of a high grit sandpaper just to make sure that it's sanded down, to make sure that the dye sits in the vinyl properly. Alright, so just got done cleaning this first one using the cleaning stuff and like the Brillo pad. Just with that, I think it's actually okay to not sand it. Like if you look at this one in comparison to the one that's in between Jonathan's legs there, this one's definitely like more of a matte finish now. It kind of took off the clear and you can even see there's like scuff marks. So I think it's okay, and the directions of the dye doesn't say anything about sanding it. So for now we'll do this. If we need to sand it in between coats then we will, but for now this should be okay.
See, this is what we were saying. You could tell like this is still shiny and that's still shiny. You sand like the pad is like sanding it.
Yeah, and you don't have to go light with this stuff. Like as of right now, it's doing a really good job of cleaning. I mean, mixed with the Brillo pad and the cleaning stuff, it seems to be doing a pretty good job. These are all clean. The annoying part, taping everything off, has been completed as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the dye ready to go, and then we can start applying it to the seats. First things first, grab the dye, shake it up nice and good, make sure you get all the color to mix in properly, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so seats are all good. Got the sponge, got the dye, gonna pour it on the paper plate and then start applying coats to the seats.
That doesn't even look white, it looks like a freaking cream.
Yeah, it should still look good though. See, I don't even know how to like apply it. Guys, we have no idea what we're doing, so you guys are learning with us here. Okay, so the first coat has been applied to both of these. It is drying more white than what it initially looked like, which is nice. But we are gonna go to the store while this dries. It says it needs to dry for about like 30 minutes to an hour. So we're gonna run to the store, grab some supplies for the master cylinder that I have on the way to fix this and a couple other things. And then we'll be back and apply our second coat. Okay, so currently day 2, Jonathan has returned to help me finish this little project, and while we're doing this, we're actually going to be knocking out some projects on his car as well, so make sure you're subscribed to his channel so you're not missing anything that we're doing. We're painting his wheels, doing his emblem, painting his front bumper, so we got some projects to get done for him today as well, but so far the seats had numerous hours to go ahead and dry. They're definitely looking better than what they did initially, so I'll go ahead and show you guys what they're looking like. As you can see, there's still like splotchy marks, but all this will be filled in like as we continue to go. Went and picked up some paintbrushes too, so now that we're on like the 4th coat, are we on the 4th or the 3rd? Now that we're on the third coat, we can go ahead and apply with paintbrushes so it can get on there a little thicker, and then we can get in those creases. Jonathan is currently using the paintbrush. It seems to be working on this seat pretty well. When I tried it on this one, it didn't seem like it was grabbing properly. This seat just seems to be the problem child currently, but hopefully the paintbrush, we can go ahead and get it done. I think what we're gonna do is really focus on the two front seats, at least for the next like 2 coats, and then we'll kind of go from there, see how much we have, and then we might start on the rear seat. Another coat is done. Honestly, I'm getting a little worried at this point. We have maybe a quarter left of the bottle. I mean, for the most part, the seats are looking really good, but there's still, you know, obvious spots that need to be covered. So I'm just worried because some of the dye isn't wanting to stick on certain parts of the seats. So I'm worried that it's not going to stick and we're not going to have enough to finish the fronts, which is like worst case scenario right now. So we're hoping that that doesn't happen. And if you notice the puddle, Jonathan, and
yeah, I accidentally spilled it.
So it has been a couple of hours since I last picked up the camera. We are still working away on the seats. A couple things for you guys to note just right off the bat. Number one, the 16-ounce bottle is not going to be enough to take care of the front and rear seats. It's not. It's enough to take care of just the 2 front seats, but even then it's kind of scarce, so just be cautious, or just make sure that you order the bigger bottle to begin with to make sure that you have enough. Number 2, we should have sanded as we went. I think it was like coat number 4 or 5 that we decided to finally sand the seats in between coats, and it definitely makes a difference and allows more of the dye to seep in. So go ahead and use about 1,000 grit sandpaper to sand in between the coats that you're applying. Number 3, use a sponge however you want, but the dabbing method that Jonathan is using right now seems to be doing a pretty good job of getting the dye in the spots that it was having a hard trouble sticking, and you're not really using as much when you're using that method as well. It does take a little bit longer though, so at that point just weigh the pros and cons and see what you want to do. But we're going to go ahead and continue working on this. Our bottle is almost empty, so we got maybe this last coat and 2 more coats. I don't even know what coat we're on, like 6 or 7 I want to say. So be advised that you are going to need plenty of coats, especially if you're changing the color from like black to white like I am. But just stay patient. It's definitely one of those things that looks terrible when you first start out, but the more that you're doing it, the further that you're going with it, the better they end up looking. So I'll pick this back up when the front seats are done, and then of course the video second half of the video will continue whenever I get more dye to do the back seats. So a couple days since I last picked up the camera, I did order some more automotive dye. Shout out also to the company that I am buying this stuff from. It literally came in, I think I ordered it on Monday, and it's Thursday today, so it only took like 3-4 days to get, so really hyped on that. Okay, now that I have spent the past 40 minutes cleaning the seats and taping everything off to make sure that they're ready to take more dye, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Basically just the same process that I was doing the other day, of just putting paint on a plate and then applying it with a sponge lightly, coat after coat. So I don't want to sit here and bore you guys with a 40-minute video of doing every single coat, so I will go ahead and pick the camera back up after I've applied some more coats, probably in a couple hours, if not maybe in a couple days, but I will see you guys here in a moment. Okay, just as I said, I am picking the camera back up after applying multiple coats. But the front seats are looking really good. I am actually really happy with how these have turned out. I have just applied the final coat to these guys. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and apply the Resoline, and I'll talk to you guys about that here in a second. And this is currently what the 2 rear seats are looking like. So far this one is pretty much done. There's only a couple of spots that need to be hit still. I might do 1 to 2 more coats on this one. This one will definitely require at least 2 coats, but for the most part it is looking good. There are a couple spots that still need to be filled in, but pretty happy with how this is coming out too. The only part that I still kind of need to do is on the inside of this. As you can see, I tried earlier and then I lifted it and it kind of like peeled some of the dye, so I had to re-put these parts. Don't worry, those will get cleaned up in a moment and look like the rest of it. So the whole like inside part is really tricky to try and get this painted without it sticking to the sides or anything and peeling, because I just lifted this up and it peeled the sides. So again, I'm not too worried about this. I am going to get this taken care of. Once everything is fully dry, I'll make sure to get the inside cleaned up and looking like the rest of it. But just be advised that you are going to kind of have to pick which one to do first, either the outside or the inside, and make sure that it's completely dry
So once the seats are all dry, I am going to be applying the Resoline. Again, just a reminder, this does not come with the kit or sold on the site. This is something separate, but this will go ahead and help protect the seats just that extra more to make sure the dye doesn't come off and nothing stains the seats. So I'm going to be applying this using an airbrush, 50% of this and 50% water in the airbrush, and I'll pick the camera back up when I'm applying that. Okay, already got the water in there, half water. Gonna fill the rest with this, mix it around, put it in the container for the airbrush, and then we can go ahead and start applying the first coat. So this is my first time using this little airbrush. I picked it up from Harbor Freight for like 14 bucks. Luckily, I already had an air compressor. If you don't have an air compressor, you can pick one of these up with a little compressor for I think like 104. But everything is all put together, and I'm gonna use this to go ahead and start spraying. So I got the Resoline applied. Again, this is my first time using Resoline as well as using that airbrush. So hopefully it applied properly. Good thing about me always doing stuff like this is if you guys are uncomfortable messing with some of this stuff because you've never done it before. I haven't either, so this is also my first time, so I get to make the mistake so you guys don't. As of right now, I think everything's okay. I'm not gonna spray it a second time. I'm just gonna let it sit, see how that settles. If it seems like it could use some more, then I'll go ahead and hit it with the second one. But for now, I'm gonna let that sit, finish applying the other coats to the rears, and then when those are all finished, I can hit those with the Resoline as well. So the project is finally finished. All in all, just some quick disclaimers for you guys. This does take quite a bit of time. I think all in all, it took at least 5 days for me to do all 5 of the seats. Was a bit of a hectic experience just because if you are like me and you do use your Q50 or whatever car you're doing this to as a daily, you're really going to need a lot of time to go ahead and make sure that it's all complete. The seats need at least 6 hours before you can sit on them. So take that into effect. Just make sure when you are doing this that you got plenty of time to make sure that you can get it all done. But all of the tape is off. The seats are back in the car. Also, when you are doing tape, just be advised there are some spots that are going to be stuck with the dye and the tape. So instead of just ripping the tape off and ruining your seats on the spots there's tape, just push down on where the tape is to kind of separate it nicely, and then go ahead and pull the tape off. Just an extra little tip for you guys. And then last little tip before I show you guys the seats, if you guys do decide to buy the Resoline, I don't honestly think you need the 32 ounce. Honestly, kind of upset that I spent the $30 just because I only used a little bit of this. I didn't even use that much. Half of that was wasted. Honestly, I only put half of the Resoline in here, the other half with water, and this was enough for the front and back seats, and this is still much I have left over. So honestly, for all of the seats, you really don't need that much if you are using the airbrush. This says to just do 1 coat, but if you really want to, I'm sure you can get away with doing 2 or 3, just if you want to really make sure that the Resoline is sitting and, you know, doing its job. But enough talking and boring, you guys, let me go ahead and show you the seats. Okay, so right away you walk up to the car with the windows down. You can immediately notice that the seats are white. This is awesome for show purposes and anything like that, as this is probably how your car is going to be displayed. The second that you look in, you can see the seats all nice and white, look really clean. Even from the front window, even though my window is super dirty and cracked right now, you can clearly see that the seats are white, look really nice, really clean. I'm really happy with just how it looks with the windows down. And then once you open the doors, you do get the full experience. Again, really happy with how they came out. And then the rear seats, again, looking really clean. My only concern, of course, is making sure that the kids keep them clean. I mean, their major issue is putting their feet up against here, which these are plastic and I left those black for a reason. And I think it looks really nice, the contrast between the black and the white. When I was first doing this, I thought about doing like these little parts of the doors here white as well. But 1, I definitely don't have enough dye for that. And 2, I kind of like it without it just because it really makes the interior pop a lot more knowing that just the seats are white. And I think it makes it more obvious that this is like an aftermarket type of thing and not just something that came with the car stock. So all in all, really happy with how it came out. Just so you guys know how much dye I have left, it's literally just a tiny bit. So just take that into effect if you are doing this yourself. I used a 32 ounce bottle and a 16 ounce bottle, and it was just enough dye for what I needed. But again, it might vary for you depending on the color that you're choosing and the color that the seats were to begin with, as well as just how well your seats want to take the dye. Some parts of my seats took it really well, other parts wanted to, you know, be a pain. And then of course prep time, I can't stress that enough. Make sure you sand it down, make sure they are good to go and ready to take that dye in really well on the first coat. Of course, all the products that I use for this will be down below, including the kit that I got from eBay to begin with, and then the actual website that you can buy everything. They do have other kits that you can get on there as well that are full color changing kits. They are a bit more pricey, but I mean, all in all, with everything, including the $32 Resoline that I bought, it came out to like just over $200, maybe like $220 for everything, which I mean, I paid $320 for NRG seats and there was 2 of them. My new seats that are on the way were $630 with a sponsorship. So $230 to completely change the interior of 5 of your seats in the car honestly isn't bad. With that, I will go ahead and wrap up this video. If you have not already, please hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 500 subs. I really appreciate everybody that's been subscribing or telling other people about the channel. It means a lot. Please drop a like as well. Comment on the video, let me know what you think about the seats. Let me know what vehicle you are going to be doing this to if you do decide to try this for yourself. Love to see what you guys are doing. And then of course, if you have any questions at all, leave them down below. I respond to all my comments, or you can hit me up on Instagram. Either way, I will get back to you, I promise. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.